Okay, this is basically the last time this happens. So right now, I know I'm live, I know it's working, so there are no going back anymore. So what are we doing right now? Basically, we are going to make a stream where I just go live and talk about about scams about computers. So in the last couple of days, I've been just researching computers and scams and have made like a tier list about them. So we are going to rank the tier list. Basically F, meaning that that the scam is so weak that if you fall for it, it's basically your fault. And S tier, where more or less it's impossible to protect yourself from it, or it's really hard. Like unless you are like a computer nerd, you can't actually protect yourself from it. Now there are a lot of scams, as you can see here, and we are going to talk about each of them one by one, how it happens, why it happens, why people like haven't stopped making these scams. Like some of these scams and actually most of these scams are happening now for many years, and nobody seems to make a point to actually fight against them. Some YouTubers and some streamers here and there talk about these kind of stuff, but actually the like people who are people that actually can fight against these scams aren't doing anything about them. Right now we are just going to talk about them, how they happen, why it happens, and yeah, it's going to be fun, enjoyable, and let's start. Basically, the fake CPU. Right now, when it comes to the fake CPU, there is this YouTube video that I watched from Gamers Nexus. There are a lot of fake CPU videos, but this one it goes about a bit more into detail. So let me just open that up real quickly. As you can see, it's just basically the fake. As you can see on the thumbnail, there is the fake CPU and a real CPU, how they look. But obviously this is like an open CPU. So how and if you can open the actual CPU to see the silicon inside, that's going to be a bit not easily done. Let me say that. Let me tell you that is not going to be easily done. What this scam is basically somebody just manufactures a fake CPU, a CPU that has nothing inside, as you can see on the thumbnail and on this minute. Like there is completely nothing inside. There is just like some glue there, and the metal is like protruding a bit, like it's up a bit. So if you actually see it from the side, it looks like it has something inside, like it looks like it has silicon inside, but actually there's nothing inside. If you actually put this CPU in a computer, there's nothing is going to happen there. But again, there are, like, they look sometimes identical to the real thing. It's really hard to make to distinguish the difference. Like if you have them side by side, like in this part here, yeah, you can tell the difference. But if you have the fake one and you just go like online, watch for a trailer or two, you can see how they might look identical. Like you might think that the trailer has like a more greenish, background, and that's why they look somewhat the same. The name is the same, the NNT logo is the same. Like you can see that maybe the font is somewhere darker and somewhere grayer, but if you don't have them side by side, yeah, it's going to be hard for you to distinguish them. Now, Gamers Nexus goes far more into detail about it, but the gist of it is they fabricate like a completely new CPU. You can't call it a CPU because there's nothing inside, but they fabricate it to look exactly like the real thing, and they usually sell them like hand to hand. So once you get it, you can't actually return it. It's a bit harder to detect. It's risky to buy things hand to hand. I know sometimes it makes sense because the prices are too good to just leave them, but sometimes it's better to have some caution and not buy things directly. At least not if you can't test them, because like I said, the fake one, there's nothing inside. So if you actually try to test it, the PC won't even power up. So for that reason, it's completely fake, but it's made to look identical to the real one. So I would say D tier, because if I were to get this, if somebody gave me this, I went online, it looked identical to the real stuff, I saw that there's no sticker, like it's like real metal, I would probably buy it because it looks identical. Now the okay, so before we move to the second one, how can you defend from this? Like I told you, you can look the serial number, you can test for it, you can go maybe online and look for the main differences side by side. Other people have the fake one and the real one, and just go online before you actually give the money to the seller. And yeah, you can do that. Or maybe buy directly from Amazon and Newegg. But of course, when you do that, the CPU will most likely be a lot more expensive, because it's either renewed or new. And the seller does this because if he sells something hand to hand, there's no repercussion for him. And yeah, like he just gets the money and gets away. Now, the second scam. And this one is maybe less of a scam, but because people actually don't scam you, you get scammed from like Amazon and or eBay, and they usually are nice and send the products back. But sticking with Gamers Nexus, this is one of his other channels. Basically, people just buy something and then return it. But they don't return the actual thing that they bought. For example, he talks about like a power supply. Let's say that you need a better power supply. You need a 1000 watt power supply. You basically buy it from Amazon, but then you don't have the money, so you get the power supply from the box, put your old power supply inside the box and return it, and Amazon sends you the money back and then sends that box to another customer. So yeah, that happens. Sometimes customers are not the wiser and think that they got the correct GPU because they use the same box, just replace the power supply. If you know something, and if you actually go online and check for how it exactly looks, you can most likely find out if you got scammed. But yeah, it happens. It's not cool. People will return it. It's less of a scam because you can most of the time like return it, and they don't make a big fuss about it. So for that reason, since you can actually return it almost any time, I'm going to send it at, I would say it's F tier, but just because there's no way to actually protect you from this scam, I would say it's E tier, because either way you are like at bare minimum you are getting your time wasted with it. People do this because they just want a better product, a better power supply, a better GPU, better CPU, no matter what the case is. With CPU, sometimes it's harder to detect them. If you're not a nerd, they might just clean it off. But we will get to that later in the video. Right now, on this topic, they return the product because Amazon just returns every product, no questions asked. I don't know if they still do it, but when this video was made, Gamers Nexus talks about how they just return the product, no questions asked. The other one is a sticker. As you can see, I got like a lot of videos have been made about this one, but one that opens it live is this guy. Let me just pause the URL, and yeah, as you can see, there's the PC, there is the CPU, there's the sticker, and they don't match with each other. Basically, you buy a CPU, like you order a new CPU, and they send you a older CPU with a new sticker on it. The problem with this is that well, if you actually try to test it, it will work. If you try to stress test it, you will know that it's not a good CPU. Or if you try to play any game that is CPU intensive, it will fail because they usually give you a way weaker CPU. They basically just get the CPU, old CPU, and put a sticker on it. As you can see, it just peels the sticker off, and and you can see that there's like a 10-year-old CPU inside there. The problem with this is that first, sometimes you might think that you got the right CPU and you might troubleshoot it. Like even if you buy like a from eBay where you can return the product, you might try to troubleshoot it and message with the seller back and forth until that return window is closed, because like eBay has like a 30-day return window where if you try to return a product after 30 days you can't. And there are scammers who take advantage of that. They send broken items or items that don't work properly, and they try to troubleshoot the item with you, acting like they are good and genuine, but actually they are not. They are just trying to get your money. And yeah, this YouTuber got scammed. Hopefully you don't. But the best thing to do is once you get this CPU, you troubleshoot it, return it immediately. It's not your problem, it's the seller's problem. Even if you think that you might you have gotten the right CPU, if it doesn't work as good as it should, like even slightly worse, just return it. It's not your problem. So yeah, get your money back, return it. And for the third one, well, since it's a bit more it's like a bit harder to detect, and it works when you test it, and you might not notice the sticker if it's high quality sticker. Well, yeah, it's going to send it at C tier just because of that back and forth messaging. But after that, we have the clean and rename. Right now, this is basically like the sticker. They rename the CPU, but it's not with a sticker. They laser the name again. Like if we go here, you can see Linus has made a video about it. He basically got screwed when he bought like a CPU. The problem here is that if you buy like older Intel CPUs, I don't know about the newer models, but if you just clean it a bit, you can just clean off the name and rename it using the laser, like a laser. So doing that, there's no sticker. The CPU will seem like it's a legit CPU. I mean, for the time being, until you actually stress test it. But if you just take it, you can try to peel. There's no peel the sticker out, but there will not be a sticker. The name might look real because they might just copy paste like an image from a real CPU on the CPU with a laser, and like from the outside it will look like the real thing. But just stress test it, play a game or two. If it doesn't work properly, just return it. The problem with this again is that if you buy it hand to hand, yeah, it's a bit harder to detect because it will look like the real thing. And just because there's just more effort done by the scammer and there's no sticker on it, like there's nothing you can detect it like from, like one less thing you can detect it from. I will send this at B tier, clean and rename with a laser. You can see the laser gun. Props to me, the artist. People do this like they do the sticker. They have a old CPU with them. They want to resell the CPU. They know that nobody wants it. They know that it's worthless. So they try to do everything they can in their power to make it look newer and resell it and just get some extra money, like for a new CPU, or maybe just buying more broken old CPUs and reselling them as new ones. Who cares? Basically, they just want money, and you shouldn't buy things hand to hand unless you know your stuff, unless you have like a actual system where you can test the stuff. After that, we have the fifth one. The fifth and the sixth one are somewhat the same, but yeah, we will get into it right now. I watched this video. And just so you know, I watched many more videos, but these ones are like the ones that I wanted to talk more about. As you can see, this PC, it looks good. It looks new. It has RBG. Just from the looks, it looks like it's a great gaming PC. And yeah, if you're a nerd, and if you actually go to the description and see the parts, you will know that it's like a bad PC. But someone who, like, let's say your grandfather, grandmother, or your grandfather, grandmother wants to buy you a gaming PC, if they see this, they see that it's cheap, it looks as good as the PCs you maybe wanted to buy on wherever you wanted to buy them, they will think that it will play and run the games properly. But actually, there will be like 10-year-old PC parts in it. And even if you actually look at the parts, let's say that there's an i7 in there. Well, you might think that an i7 is better than a i5, but like an Intel i7 is better than an Intel i5. But if you think about it, i5s and i7s come out every year, and there are like i5s that came out 12 years ago, and i7s that came out like 10 years ago. So basically that means that even an i5 of this generation is like a lot times better than an i7 of 10 years ago. So they just put like an i7 that is like 10 years old, a broken hardware, a broken disk, a really, really old GPU, and they just buy a new case with RGB, which are cheap. And then they resell the PC, and whoever buys it just basically buys it. They aren't targeted towards people who know about computers. They are targeted towards people who just want to buy a gaming PC and don't really know anything about gaming PCs. And when they see that it's cheap, they think that they got a deal. For that, and for somebody who doesn't know better, they might fall for it. But if you just look at the description and the parts, yeah, you will know that it's a trash PC. But again, sometimes they don't tell about the generation of the CPU. They will be just like it's an i7. So maybe that you can tell from the description. Maybe you can't. That's why I'm in the middle of D and E tiers. But I will put it at E tier. And then we have all too old. This is another less of a scam, but because Linus made a video about this, and basically they are upfront that it's a older PC, and it looks like an older PC. It looks like it's just refurbished. As you can see, they just sparkle it up a bit. But even Linus says that it's not a scam. But when you know what you're buying, it's not a scam, because it's just a cheap computer that it's not capable of playing good games. But again, in my opinion, this is again a scam, because I feel like it's targeted towards people who don't know about computers. Like if you go to their website, again, Linus Tech Tips, you can see that on the description, basically, like they don't tell anything that can help you. They don't tell you that the parts are old. They tell you that it has 1 terabyte SSD and maybe 32 gigabytes of VRAM. You can see that it tells you that it's just an Intel Core i7, but it doesn't actually tell you what year it was made on. So it can be a 12-year-old i7, a 10-year-old i7. Who cares? A 10-year-old i7 will not perform as good as a new i7. And maybe you can tell because it has only 4 cores, and newer generation i7s don't have 4 cores, have a lot more. But yeah, they only tell you that it's an i7, 32 gigabytes of memory. What kind of memory is it? Is it DDR3, DDR4, DDR5? Who knows? Doesn't matter. 1 terabyte of solid state drive. Again, if you just buy it from day to day, just to film just to watch some movies, maybe download a couple of things, yeah, it will work properly. But then again, why would you need 32 gigabytes of RAM about for that? This is just made to confuse some people and make it look like it is like an entry level gaming PC. But because I can see why Linus might think that, I can see why Linus thinks that it's not a scam, because if you look in the description, you can notice that it's not a scam. And they are not that dishonest about it. I will put this at F tier, because you need to read the description, and if you don't, then yeah, why didn't you read the description carefully? After that, we have the USB upgrade. Now, what is the USB upgrade? Well, let me show you what it is. Linus has made a video about it. There is this other guy who has made a video about it. Basically, he makes about a video about the version 2.0. Linus has a video about the first version, and yeah, some people think that it's not a scam, but I argue that, and I'm not going to argue that it's a scam. I will say that it's a scam, just because it actually says that it will make your computer faster. Now, what this USB does is basically there's like an operating system, a Linux operating system, and Linux has a lot less bloatware, so it will make your PC, boot faster, open videos faster, and there will be a lot less background stuff being done to the computer. But that's all of it. It's not actually making your PC faster, it's launching another operating system which has a lot of problems, because you might not be familiar with Linux. You might not be familiar with how it works, how it should work. If a problem pops up, you probably won't know how to fix it, and there are a lot less guides on how to fix it. And there are 1 million other problems to do. Plus, on the first version, they claim that, it will make your PC faster, which it won't actually make your PC faster. If you launch out of Linux, it might feel faster, but even if you don't buy this USB and just download in Linux operating system, the Linux operating system, it will still boot faster than Windows, just because it has less bloatware than Windows, and it has a lot less things going on the background. But people are used to Windows, and there are a lot of other things that they are not honest about. But basically, this is a scam. You shouldn't buy this. You should just spend your money on buying maybe some RAM, or just save towards a better computer. I wouldn't recommend this, and Linus actually says that if they are honest about it, then it's a good idea. But they are not honest about it. That's why it's a scam. Because Linus says that, look, they made an operating system, it's actually faster. It launches things faster. It's not going to improve your gaming or anything on that level, but it will make your experience on your computer, if you play back videos and things like that, a lot more enjoyable. And that is true. But because they made all of the extra claims, and they are not honest about the problems that you will have using Linux, I feel like... I think it's a scam. And since they are not honest about it, and then there are some reviewers whose opinion is mixed. Some say that it's a scam, some say that it's not a scam, they're just not honest about it. People might fall for it. That's why I think it's a C tier. Because it's it's harder to make everyone think on the same level. On the other hand, we have just unknown upgrades. What are unknown upgrades? Basically, unknown upgrades are things you haven't heard about that make your PC faster. These are lies. We will talk more about this on specific examples, but basically, let's say you buy a PC part and none of your tech nerd friends told you that it exists. If they don't know a PC part exists that makes your computer faster, it probably doesn't make your computer faster. As simple as that. If you're gonna make your computer faster with a $10 purchase, nobody would buy a $2,000 GPU. And that's why it's F tier. If you just buy stupid stuff online, and there are even software programs that say that, hey, if you pay us $5 a month, your PC will become faster. No, it won't. And then we have off-brand CPUs. What are off-brand CPUs? Well, Linus has a video about it where he talks about just some random CPUs, some random engineering samples, and some random just Chinese CPUs. And you should stay away from both of them. When the seller advertises them, they will advertise them as they work properly. They will be fun to use. They might have little quirks here and there, but actually in reality, they will not be stable. They might not even be compatible with your system, even if they say that they will be compatible with your system. And even if they are, they might be loose on the socket, so their longevity might not be good. So as a consumer, I would say stay away from this. Linus says that as a PC enthusiast, if you like to tinker with stuff and you know what you are doing, then just have fun with it. But right now we are talking about consumers. And I would say it's B tier or maybe A tier. No, what? It's A tier because the engineering samples, they actually have a name, and they have been used on computers and they will work properly from time to time. So people might fall for them and they might actually trust them to be their daily system, and they might work for a little. And they might work for a long time, nobody knows. But I would stay away from them. Like, just spend a bit more money and have that peace of mind. And I'm not saying to buy everything brand new, but not that kind of shady. After that, we have the fake SSD. Now, when I say fake SSD, I mean fake SSD. As you can see on this video, that I just put the link of. Okay, maybe the wrong link. Trying to put the other link in it. Hopefully this is the right one. Okay, basically I have the wrong link. But what are fake SSDs? Basically you go on Newegg or Walmart and you see like a 100 gigabyte SSD for $20-$30, and you might think that, hey, that's great, but and because it's Walmart you might trust it more, but actually Walmart buys things from third parties as well, so for that reason you can't trust it, because I can go online on Walmart and just say that, hey, yeah, like you can see this video, a $30 30 terabyte SSD for $40. Obviously you can't do that, you can't buy that. So people like I just go on Walmart, register myself as a seller, I put this SSD on there, and people might fall for it. And usually because it looks like a legit website, people might think that it's a legit SSD, and they just got a crazy good deal on it. Usually this will work, and they might have like 100 gigabytes inside of them, so when you just power them up and don't actually try to refund it immediately, it will work for a couple of days, weeks, maybe months if you don't put anything in it, but it will work terribly. It's not fast, it's extremely slow. It doesn't have 30 terabytes, it might have 100 gigabytes. I think in this video it has around 100 gigabytes. But yeah, if it doesn't have, it's around there, like not, and even those, I wouldn't trust it with 100 gigabytes of information. Usually even that will get corrupted. So, what is the fake SSD? Where should we rank them? It's F tier. And I said this before and I will say it again, if a deal is too good to be true, the deal is too good to be true, so don't buy it. There's no way somebody can sell you a terabyte of memory of an SSD for $1. There's no way. Then we have the fake brand. Now what is this? Basically it's just, let's say that they get this generic SSD and they just put the Samsung label on it. Now, why did I make them separately? Well, when you just buy a generic SSD, you see the name that it's generic, well, it's easier to know that it's a fake. But what if the SSD was a lot more expensive and on it was written Samsung? Well, you trust Samsung and you're more likely to buy it even at a higher price because you know that Samsung equals quality. But not really, because if you just put a sticker of Samsung on a SSD, like, yeah, it's not going to work properly. So where do we rank this? Just because there's a sticker and until we buy it, we might not know that it's a good SSD, I'm going to put it at B tier, and it's not going to be higher, even though we can fall easily for it, but it's easily tested. Like once you put it in, try to play a game, the game won't launch properly. And then we have, okay, before we move to the 12th one, why are people doing these scams? Because I haven't talked about them. I forgot. Where should we begin? Well, let's begin with the 5th one. Old to new. They basically where people just put old stuff on the new case. People do that because they have old hardware, and if they just sell the old hardware with the old case, people might not buy it because they will know that it's old. But if they put it on a new case with RGBs, yeah, then people will fall for it. And that's why people fall for it. The 6th one, well, they just put RGBs and sparkle it up a bit. It's basically the same as the 5th one. And then the USB upgrade. People fall for this because people are desperate to have better performance and they don't want to spend more money. Because if you want more performance, sometimes you can just upgrade your RAM, but most of the time you will need to either upgrade your CPU or your GPU, and to upgrade those things, those are expensive. So they look at cheaper alternatives when there aren't. Unknown upgrades, basically the same reason as the 7th one. The off-brand CPUs. People just are in the market and they want the cheapest stuff possible, and that's why they fall for it. The fake SSDs. When we look online, people will, like every tech nerd will tell you that the most important parts are the CPU and the GPU. Everything else is second because it's easier to upgrade and it's cheaper. So people might think that a low-end SSD might be fine for a bit when it's actually not. Like, it's good to have a slower SSD compared to a slower CPU, but not to the same degree. Fake brand Samsung. Basically, they see that it's a Samsung SSD. They see that it's a legit brand, and they see that it is on a discount. That's why they buy it. And usually they pay actually a lot more than the fake SSD, which is funny, but yeah, just buy on legit websites that actually honor their return policies. After that, we have we are on the 12th on the list. So these are fake claims. What do I mean by fake claims? Basically, let's save this video. Hopefully now I have the correct link. Yeah, the correct link. I'm a genius. Okay, basically this part is a PC part that claims to make your PC sound better for a really cheap price. It doesn't. No. The problem with this is that most of the parts here are not functionable. They don't work. This probably doesn't work. They claim to make your PC run quieter when it doesn't. And they even say that it filters memory, it filters hard drives, the power of the hard drive, so it might even make your PC run faster. All are lies. And Linus goes in depth to debunk it, but never trust these things. They are lies. Like, if something like this was capable of doing the things that it claimed, it kind of like, nobody would pay $100+ on a GPU. They would pay $10 on this thing, but nobody buys that. I will say it is at E tier just because if you go online and look at reviews, there are some positive reviews. They might buy the reviews. I don't know how it goes, but there are positive reviews. On the comments, people buy these things. They have been around for many years, and that's why people might think that they are legit. That's why I'm going to put it at E tier, not at F tier. But yeah, it's like a really common scam. And then we have dangerous power supplies. Things here get interesting because when you buy a power supply, people will tell you that creators will tell you that it is important to have a good power supply, but they don't tell you how important it is. Like it doesn't actually increase performance, so you shouldn't pay you shouldn't pay as much on a power supply as you do on a CPU or GPU. But believe me, don't buy an off-brand GPU. Buy a GPU that people know about. You can see this GPU. Just look what it happens to this one. Did you see that?
Woo!
Like, imagining that happening to your computer. It might just fry your whole computer. Like, imagining buying like a $2,000 computer and you chip off on the GPU and it just fries your whole system. Everything goes to shit. Do you think that power supply manufacturer is going to take responsibility about your power supply? No way, no shit. And don't buy off-brand power supplies. Even if, like, for example, this power supply is like a GameMax power supply. And look, just go on Google. GameMax PCU, is it safe? And you will see that, hey, this is not safe. It's safe depends heavily on the specific model. If an AI has to say that it depends heavily on the specific model, it's not safe. If you go down the line, GameMax PCUs still completely untrustworthy. You see, Linus here with the power supply exploding. Like, I'm sure they do good. They probably have good products, but buy it from a reputable store. Linus now basically makes reviews on specific on almost every power supply and tests it. So go and watch that. Don't cheap out on a power supply, or if you cheap out, make your research so at least it doesn't fry your whole system. With that said, where do we rank this? And just because creators don't put as much of an emphasis on the power supply, and they say that you need a good power supply because it may fry your whole system, but like they just say that quickly, and I say it quickly as well. But just because we don't put an emphasis on that, I will put it B tier, because even GameX, it's a brand, it's a legit brand. It might not be a trustworthy brand, but it's a brand. And yeah, it's been on for many years, and people might not think to double check that. After that, we have downloadable RAM. What is downloadable RAM? It's an F tier scam. That's what it is. It is what it is. There are some websites that people think that they can just download more RAM off and make your computer faster. You know what? I will just type it. Download more RAM. See? I don't know, maybe now at times you can, but yeah. Instant, fast, free. Doesn't work. It's shit. And doesn't actually help you. Like, there are now some cases where you can actually use the RAM of somebody else, but not on these scammy websites, not free. Let me just tell you, not free. There's no way you can upgrade your computer for free nowadays. I'm sorry, but nobody would be stupid enough to spend money if you can upgrade your computer for free. And usually they say that it's free, there's always something back. Now we rank these. So should we maybe move them a bit? I'm not sure. Unknown upgrades. Maybe unknown upgrades deserves the E spot, because it gives you hope. The second-hand GPUs, the D tier, because it's not as obvious as the ones, and you will get scammed. You will lose your time, like I said before. Fake CPUs, I will keep it at. You know what? I'm going to keep this at C tier, just because actually they use the glue on the inside, so it looks like it has silicon, and it's harder to detect. The sticker, the USB, they are about the same. I will leave these here. All run CPUs at 8 tier, clean and rename. I would say it's an 8 tier just because you are lasering the name, so it's actually harder to detect. All run GPUs, and yeah, I'm happy with this. Now we go to the big boys, the GPUs. I made a video about GPU scams, but I'm going to mention them here as well, and how these scams actually are used for every single one of these. And I can't remember where I ranked them, but yeah, I might not rank them in the same way, which will be funny. Okay, wiring the money first. Basically, you buy something from, maybe Facebook Market. You buy something from Facebook Marketplace, and they say, wire me the money. Don't wire the money to anyone. Get the product first, then wire the money. If you wire the money first, you're not going to see the product. As simple as that. So F tier. Just because there are so many ways to prevent this, from meeting to a safe place like their house or a coffee, on testing this stuff, to receiving the item, then sending the money. So F tier. Then we have the switching. Basically, they say that they will send you like an RTX 36 and they give you an RTX 3050. So yeah, that would be E tier, just because just when you look at the GPU, you can see the difference. Like, you met with the guy, you got the GPU. Don't trust anyone. Everyone is after your money. They just want all they can get with. Like, they want the most amount of money they can get with that part. Nothing else. They give you a broken GPU. I will, again, leave this at E tier, because it might look fine and you might buy it, but when you go and test it, it might be broken. So again, be careful, test it. Don't just be smarter. Don't just give your money off like that. Switching shells. Now this is a bit more complicated. And you know what? I will leave this at S tier. Now, what is this scam? Basically, like I said, they for example take an RTX 3050 and an RTX 3060, and they just disassemble the GPU, get the GPU, like the actual GPU, out of the shell and replace the shells, and give you the shell of the RTX 3060 with an RTX 3050 in it. And then they just use some software so when you power your PC up, it will tell you that you actually have the RTX 3060, the upgraded version, when you actually don't. And when you play games, they will not run properly. That much is obvious. But you will try to troubleshoot it, and again, while troubleshooting it, you might talk to the seller back and forth, and the return window will expire. So you got scammed. It's smart. A lot of work is involved in this by the scammer. They usually are higher end GPUs, and just test it. If it doesn't work, just return it immediately. Not your problem. Unofficial chat. I will leave this at C tier. But what do I mean by unofficial chat? Let's say that, for example, you buy something on eBay and you agree on the price, you send the money, and you don't receive the product, so you appeal for a refund. And they might text you privately and tell you you know what, wire me $200 so I can send the product. Let's say it was a 4090. A 4090 is $1,500. You agreed on the price for $500, $200 for shipping. It's still $700, which means that you are saving $800. So you send the $200. The problem here is that through the official website of eBay, once you make the refund request, they will refund the $500. But if you actually wire the other $200, they will not refund that. So for that reason, yeah, you know what, B tier. Usually this works because like you already agreed on the price, you actually got the GPU, you want the GPU, and it feels so close, so you are actually like, fuck it, I will pay the $200, extra $200, but yeah, you never get it. After that, we have the mining GPUs. These guys have a bad reputation, but these are at B tier. The reason for that is that even though they have a bad reputation, these are good GPUs. Most miners actually don't stress their GPUs as much as you might think. Most miners, they just constantly constantly use their GPUs. They don't stress them, but they don't not stress them. Like they stress them enough so they don't break, because they need that longevity so they can get the most out of them, and once they are done they still need to sell them. So usually these are good. Like even playing games might stress the GPU sometimes even more than mining, because when you play the games, the load hits the computer all at once. When it's mining, it's just constantly mining. It's a constant load, like a lower load, but it's constant. Sometimes they are on for a couple of years, and yeah, most GPUs actually can handle that. They might not be the best, but on a budget, and it's still a good GPU, yeah, I would say it's worth it. And there are some mining GPUs, and there are some like miners who stress their GPUs to the degree where they break, but just test them and return it. Yeah, I would just test it and return it. If it doesn't break, then hey, you just got a good deal. And there are a lot of other videos where people go on details about it, but they are trustworthy enough. Actually, not B tier. I would say it's a D tier, because B tier it's harder to protect you from, and it's D tier because yeah, there are miners who who stress their GPUs to the degree where they break, but I wouldn't say. But most of them are fine. Now, off-brand GPUs B tier just because the sellers are not honest. They will be like the GPU is new, and when I say off-brand, I don't mean like a GPU that you have never heard about. They are like NVIDIA GPUs or AMD GPUs, just from manufacturers that you have never heard about. Linus has a video on it. Everybody has a video on them. They are not trustworthy. Sometimes they work fine, and they work as good as like a legit brand GPU. But there are times where they are refurbished, they have problems, irreparable problems done to them, so they are a lot slower. And yeah, it's not worth it. In my opinion, they are not worth it. After that, we have Micro Center S tier. This is more of a meme, even though I don't know if it's actually a meme or not right now. So this scam goes like this. There are quite a few cases right now where people have gone to the Micro Center, bought the RTX 5090, and when they went home, opened the actual box, there was nothing inside. There was some things inside, like Center scam. Yeah, like you see, once they buy the box, they open the box and there are just some packs in it. Not $2,000 worth of packs. Let's just say that. They are not worth $2,000. Micro Center might actually, will most likely repay the people who got scammed. Most likely there was just a problem where somebody scammed Micro Center when they gave them the GPUs, because they wouldn't risk their brand name on a couple of 5090s. They can just give them away. They are a big company, they are a legit company, and people love them, so they probably will do good good on their words. They will return the money. But it's just funny, because if you go to Micro Center with a reputation of Micro Center, and if you buy directly from them in the store, yeah, you wouldn't expect to get scammed. So for that reason, it's S tier. And then we have the GPU die scam. what is this? Basically, people, get the GPU, disassemble it, dismantle it, whatever you want to call it, and once they do that, they go a step further and they get the GPU die off of it. The GPU die is, you can think of it as the brain of the GPU. Let me just check it. GPU die. Yeah, as you can see, it's like the brain of the GPU. It looks like a CPU to a degree, but it's much bigger, much more valuable. Let me say that if it's an RTX 5090, way more valuable than a CPU. And then they fetch a really, really big price if they are sold separately. So they sell the actual GPU and the GPU dice separately. Maybe they sell it on hand. Sometimes they sell it directly and just try do whatever they can to make the buyer not refund the money, try to troubleshoot it. And if the buyer actually gets the GPU, they will look at it. It will be a brand new GPU. It will look fine inside out. It will look new. It will look exactly how it should. It looks exactly how it should, and it looks exactly how it looks in trailers. So they might think that it's just like a problem troubleshoot, and they try to troubleshoot it because they got a deal on it, and they don't want to return it because they got a deal on it. Everybody who doesn't want to return things because they got a deal on them, and because of that, it's S tier. Because like you just sold the same GPU twice. And the empty box, F tier, this scam. They just send you an empty box. Sometimes give you a tracking number. They send you an empty box, say that you got the product, and the return policy is sometimes it's hard to actually get your money back. Fake tracking number. Fake tracking number. Where should we put this before I explain what it is? A tier. A tier looks fine. We will put it at A tier. Now, where to begin with the fake tracking number? Basically, you go on eBay or Amazon. On eBay, for example, the seller needs to provide a tracking number. They give you a fake tracking number. Linus has a video on that, how they do it from start to finish. But basically, they give you a tracking number from someone else's shipping. So eBay tracks that number, you track that number. In a couple of days, it says that it's been delivered when it actually hasn't been delivered. Nothing has been delivered. It shows that it's been delivered. You are frustrated. eBay thinks that it's been delivered. When you try to make the refund, eBay will need proof that you didn't get it. It's hard to find proof of something that hasn't happened, and it's all frustrating. And there's no way to protect yourself from it. Like, you can get your money back, but before that, A tier, just because it's frustrating. Like, the process is really, really, really long. Now, okay, so first things first. What can you do to protect yourself from these scams? First, buy on legit websites. If you want to be safe, buy from legit websites directly. What do I mean when I say directly? When I say directly, I mean buy from Amazon and not from third-party sellers that sell on Amazon, from Amazon directly, and Newegg, and you get the idea. Buy Newegg products that Newegg sells of themselves, not that Newegg sells from these sellers. That way, like 90% of the time, more than 90% of the time, you will get the correct part new. And even if you return it, the experience will be a lot smoother. Other than that, just remember, if a deal is too good to be true, it is too good to be true. So don't buy like a 5090 for $2. Nobody's going to sell that. Nobody is dumb enough. Everyone wants to make the most they can out of their money. There are a couple of things and advice that I wanted to give. Unfortunately, none that I can remember right now. This was my first live stream. Nobody joined, so hopefully it does well and people watch it. If somebody watches this till the end, subscribe, like the video. If you want to make a live stream about something else, just comment down below, and yeah, I will make it happen. Hopefully it's not a complete fail, and even if it is, this will most likely, hopefully, be a good lesson. Before I end the stream, should I change anything? You know what? I'm not going to change anything. I will leave this as it is. I'm probably wrong about a couple of stuff, but this is only my opinion. If you watch this, comment your opinion down below. And yeah, see you on the next video or stream. Hopefully somebody watches this. Bye, subscribe, and comment down below.